National audience to the 87th playing of the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, and welcome to San Diego, California, and beautiful Petco Park. All right, let's do this. Let's meet the National League All-Star team. First, named to the coaching staff from your San Diego Padres, Andy Green. From the Arizona Diamondbacks, Paul Goldschmidt. From the Atlanta Braves, Julio Teheran. From the Chicago Cubs, Dexter Fowler. John Lester and Jake Arrieta. From the Cincinnati Reds, Adam Duvall and Jay Bruce. From the Colorado Rockies, Nolan Arenado. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, Corey Seager. Clayton Kershaw. Embrace it. And Kenley Jansen. From the Miami Marlins, Jose Fernandez. A.J. Ramos. And Fernando Rodney. From the Milwaukee Brewers, Jonathan Lucroy. From the New York Mets, Juris Familia. Noah Syndergaard. And Bartolo Colon. From the Philadelphia Phillies, Odubel Herrera. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, Starling Marte and Mark Melancon. From the St. Louis Cardinals, Matt Carpenter and Aledmys Diaz. From your San Diego Padres, Drew Pomerantz. From the San Francisco Giants, Brandon Belt and Madison Bumgarner. From the Washington Nationals, Daniel Murphy, Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg, and Wilson Ramos. And now let's meet the American League All-Star team. From the Baltimore Orioles, Matt Wieters, Brad Brock, Mark Trumbo, and Zach Britton. From the Boston Red Sox, Stephen Wright. From the Chicago White Sox, Jose Quintana. From the Cleveland Indians, Francisco Lindor, Corey Kluber, and Danny Salazar. From the Detroit Tigers, Miguel Cabrera. From the Houston Astros, Will Harris. From the Kansas City Royals, Kelvin Herrera. From the Minnesota Twins, Eduardo Nunez. From the New York Yankees, Carlos Beltran. Andrew Miller. And Dellin Betances. From the Oakland Athletics, Stephen Vogt. From the Seattle Mariners, Robinson Cano. From the Tampa Bay Rays, Alex Colomé. From the Texas Rangers, Ian Desmond. And Cole Hamels. From the Toronto Blue Jays, Edwin Encarnacion. Josh Donaldson. Michael Saunders. Marco Estrada. And Aaron Sanchez. And now to help us welcome tonight's starting lineups are kids representing Major League Baseball's Play Ball Initiative and MasterCard's All-Star Youth Ambassadors Program. For every fan watching live, this year's All-Star Game will be an amazing experience, but for 22 of them, MasterCard is truly making it priceless. Now let's meet the National League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the 2015 National League champion New York Mets, Terry Collins. Leading off and playing second base from the Chicago Cubs, Ben Zobrist. Batting second, the right fielder from the Washington Nationals, Bryce Harper. Batting third, playing third base from the Chicago Cubs, Chris Bryant. All right, San Diego, batting cleanup, the designated hitter from your San Diego Padres, Will Myers. Batting fifth, the catcher from the San Francisco Giants, out in the bullpen, Buster Posey. Batting sixth and playing first base from the Chicago Cubs, Anthony Rizzo. Batting seventh and playing center field from the Miami Marlins, Marcell Ozuna. Batting eighth, the left fielder from the Colorado Rockies, Carlos Gonzalez. And batting ninth, the shortstop from the Chicago Cubs, Addison Russell. And the starting pitcher warming up in the bullpen from the San Francisco Giants, Johnny Cueto. And now let's meet the American League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the 2015 World Series champion Kansas City Royals, Ned Yost. Leading off and playing second base from the Houston Astros, Jose Altuve. Batting second, the center fielder from the Los Angeles Angels, Mike Trout. Batting third and playing third base from the Baltimore Orioles, Manny Machado. Batting fourth, the designated hitter from the Boston Red Sox, Poppy David Ortiz. Batting fifth and playing shortstop from the Boston Red Sox, Xander Bogaerts. Batting sixth, the first baseman from the Kansas City Royals, Eric Hosmer. Batting seventh and playing right field from the Boston Red Sox, Mookie Betts. Batting eighth and catching from the Kansas City Royals, Salvador Perez. And batting ninth and playing left field from the Boston Red Sox, Jackie Bradley Jr. The starting pitcher warming up in the bullpen from the Chicago White Sox, Chris Sale. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2016 National League and American League All-Stars. When we return to San Diego, our national anthem before this All-Star game. And now welcome back to Petco Park in San Diego, California, leading into this 2016 MLB All-Star Game. And now to honor America with a singing of our national anthem, please welcome multi-platinum international pop star Rachel Platten.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, nor the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of
How pretty is that scene here in San Diego? Can't wait for the ball game when we come back here on Fox. A special pregame ceremony with a Hall of Famer. It's the 2016 All-Star Game from Petco Park in San Diego, California on a beautiful night. When you come to an All-Star Game, you are surrounded by Hall of Famers. Right now, we head down to the field for a special ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Hall of Famer, San Diego's very own Dick Enberg.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a distinct honor. The All-Star Game here in San Diego is the perfect backdrop for Major League Baseball to celebrate two of the game's all-time great hitters with an historic announcement. Would you please turn your attention to the video board?
Rod Carew. Rod Carew was a true magician with the bat. A Hall of Fame career spanning 19 years with the Twins and Angels. The 1967 AL Rookie of the Year. The 1977 AL Most Valuable Player. An 18-time All-Star. And a member of the 3,000 Hit Club. A career 300 hitter and 7-time American League batting champion. Rod Carew is still regarded as one of baseball's purest all-time hitters.
We are joined on the field by the Commissioner of Baseball, Rob Manfred, who has named the annual American League Batting Championship in honor of the 7-time batting champion, Hall of Famer Rod Carew. The player with the highest batting average in the American League will now be known as the Rod Carew American League Batting Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the field Rod Carew and his family. Well, that's the American League. And now the National League. And San Diego, I think you're going to like this one. Please check out the video board.
Over the course of a 20-year Hall of Fame career, exclusively in San Diego, Tony Gwynn was the model of consistency, never hitting below .309. He was a 15-time All-Star, 7-time Silver Slugger Award winner, and ranks 18th on the all-time hit list. In 1984, en route to winning his first of 8 National League batting titles, he led the Padres to their first ever World Series. His jersey number 19 was retired in 2004. Tony Gwynn, the prodigal son of San Diego, and one of the greatest hitters there ever was.
Commissioner Manfred today named the National League Batting Championship in honor of our very own 8-time batting champion, Hall of Famer, Tony Gwynn, Mr. Padre. The player with the highest batting average in the National League will forever be known as the Tony Gwynn National League Batting Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the field the Gwynn family. Oh, my. Commissioner Manfred has given both families a beautiful replica of these new awards. Fans, let's hear it one more time for two of the greatest hitters in the history of baseball, Rod Carew and Tony Gwynn.
Our thanks to Dick Enberg joining us here tonight. A great moment and a wonderful tribute. Rob Manfred bestowing upon the Carew family and the Gwynn family. When we come back, we'll set up tonight's game. John Smoltz and I, let's play this thing.
My first All-Star game, I remember, being in the room jam-packed of All-Stars.
Just being in front of all the guys that you watched growing up. Next to me, I got Trout, and the other side, I got Kluber and Salazar. Is great company.
Being there and see those guys, it's kind of amazing.
I hit a homer, right?
Ortiz gets into one.
Just really, cherish this moment for the rest of my life.
It's a part of the history of baseball, and you feel lucky to be a part of it.
Never gets old.
A privilege, it's an honor, to be there in 2004 and to be here in 2016.
At some point, you notice the reason why that room is loaded with those players, and it's because they bring something to the table every day. Very special, very special, very special.
And away we go. In San Diego, California, the weather is ideal. That gets redundant in this part of the world. It's the best from the National League against the best from the American League. And now welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joe Buck, the Hall of Famer. John Smoltz is right over here to my left. I tricked our camera guy back there. There has been a changing of the guard here in Major League Baseball, and in this All-Star game, there are 34 first-time All-Stars. There are 27 players in this game, 26 years old or younger. So tonight, while we honor the 40-year-old David Ortiz and say, in essence, goodbye to him, at least in a Midsummer Classic, we also determine which league gets home field advantage. And I welcome my partner in, John Smoltz, and not only the Hall of Fame career, but an 8-time All-Star. So I'll ask you, when you got to this point in the season, I'm sure you were dragging at times, tired, but how did you feel when you got to that city?
Well, I don't care how far you had to travel, whether you were banged up or tired, and the activities you partake when you get here. When you're in that locker room, there's something special. There's an adrenaline you cannot match. Doesn't matter if it's your first or 12th You get a taste of it, you want more of it. It's an unbelievable experience you'll never forget.
Let's talk about strategy, and typically that's not something we talk about leading into an all-star game, but the more you and I talk about it, the more you look at the composition of each roster, you realize that the onus is on the National League to get some early runs here tonight.
Yeah, no doubt the roster has been a little bit different. You think about the starters in the National League and the pitching staff. Well, the American League's got some closers to lock the game down from the 6th inning on. So if you're a National League team, let's say the Cubs, you could have some impact. Get a lead early and give your league a chance to get that Game 7. And for Chicago, nothing would be greater to have Game 7. If they were to go all the way to the World Series, it's going to be fun.
Everybody wants a Game 1 and a Game 7 if you get to the Fall Classic. This is the Midsummer Classic here in San Diego, as this great city hosts for the 3rd time. First time in this ballpark. And ballparks really don't get any nicer than what they have here for the hometown Padres. Let's give you another look at that starting lineup. Been a while since we gave it to you. For the National League, it's Ben Zobrist leading it off. Then it's Bryce Harper batting in the number 2 spot. In right field, Chris Bryant at 3rd, hitting 3rd. The DH, the hometowner, Will Myers. Buster Posey, the great catcher from the San Francisco Giants, bats 5th. Anthony Rizzo hits 6th. Batting 7th is Marcell Ozuna from the Miami Marlins. Carlos Gonzalez, one-time a batting champ, is hitting 8th, and Addison Russell is the shortstop. He bats in the number 9 spot. Now we look at the defense for the American League. It is a young outfield. 2 Boston Red Sox, 1 on each corner. Betts and Bradley with the great Mike Trout in the middle. But look at this. The infielders and the catcher, first team in All-Star Game history to have the entire group 26 years old or younger. Rez, Hosmer, Altuve, Bogarts, and Machado. And on the mound, in the center of all this, John Smoltz, is the wickedly nasty lefty named Chris Sale.
Yeah, you see the numbers. You don't have to speak to that. Last year, probably upwards 97, 98, high strikeout totals. This year, he's changed a little bit. Wants to pitch deeper in the game. I would anticipate, though, the adrenaline of this game for 1 inning, you might see those fastballs reach 98 again. But for the most part, he's a much more controlled pitcher, striking out less this year.
Let's give you our keys to the game. They are sponsored by Ford, and it's the All-Star break for a lot of baseball players, but not for you, because you came up with this stuff.
Well, you know, when you think about an all-star game, it's all about timing, and the hitters love the first pitch, and that's what they tell you, especially the American League. And for pitchers, you're going to have some touch in this game. So get a secondary pitch over, because if you come in there with the heat, and we're going to see a lot of it, these hitters are going to be ready to swing early because they don't have many opportunities. They do want to get deep in the count. They do not want to face 2 strike counts.
You start to look at some of the numbers in the averages on first pitch, and here they are for guys on the American League squad. By the way, yes, the American League is the home team because there's been a run on National League parks, so they split it up. Last year we were in Cincinnati. Right now we're in San Diego. Miami next year, Washington the following season, and now here's Zobrist, and he takes low for ball 1, and we're underway in the 87th Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Zobrist representing the Cubs, then Harper, then Bryant, against the pride of FGCU. His number 41 retired from his collegiate days. He jammed Zobrist a bit, and coming in to grab it from left field is Jackie Bradley Jr. from the Red Sox. 1 out. First pitch, Randy Jones. 1976 National League Cy Young Award winner with the San Diego Padres, and absolutely beloved. Trevor Hoffman also came in from behind the wall. That got John Smoltz's attention.
Sure did. That's one of the best songs in America when you're coming in to close a game with Trevor Hoffman.
Here is Harper. First pitch swinging, might have broken his bat. Altuve makes the play, and in a blink, and this is kind of typical the way all-star games go. 2 out.
Yeah, timing is everything. You want to get the best you can in the moment that you're in. Chris Sale knows he's only going to get 1 inning, or pretty much make the best pitches he can to try to get that 1 inning. And for a guy like Chris Bryant, he's just hoping to make contact. 0 for 6 off of Chris Sale with 6 strikeouts.
Well, let's see how he fares here in San Diego tonight. Might be the premier home run hitter in the National League, and this is belted out of here. Chris Bryant, first pitch swinging, 1-0 National League. He's only 24, John, but this guy is putting together already a season for the record books.
That's why our game is in such good hands when you're talking about guys like Bryant and Seager, the young player. This guy said, I am not getting deep in the count. I'm going to look at the first pitch I see and deposit in left field and give the team an early lead.
So you go from that thrill to the Padre first baseman, the DH tonight. Will Myers takes a ball from Chris Sale. Sale is in his 5th All-Star game, making his first start. And he's given up a run. Sale, who is a fiery guy, as tough as anybody. Lefty who's compiled a 71-43 Major League record. You know he's burning up out there right now after giving up that home run. Here comes a 1-1 to Myers. Inside, ball 2. Two and 2.
Talking with Myers, you'd see no batting gloves. He's never had batting gloves on. Asking him how and when did it start, he said, I just feel the bat better without batting gloves, and I've never had them, so it's natural for me.
2013 Rookie of the Year with Tampa Bay. Having a great year, strikes out. And that's the way the top of the first ends, but we had fireworks in it. He leads the NL in home runs with 25. Making Cub fans happy and putting the NL up 1. Is presented by MasterCard and sponsored by Pepsi. Tell the world how you feel. Find your Pepsi emoji today. Starting lineup for the American League. Altuve, a hit machine, leading the league. 341. first up. Then Mike Trout, Manny Machado. The DH is David Ortiz. Celebration for him tonight. Xander Bogaerts, Eric Hosmer, Mookie Betts, Salvador Perez, and Jackie Bradley Jr. That is the 9 against Johnny Cueto. The defense has an outfield of Gonzalez, Ozuna, and Harper. The battery from the Giants. And then that all-Cub infield, and the second team to start the entire infield in an all-star game, the other 1963. Here's Altuve, first pitch pop-up. You better be ready. One down. Johnny Cueto, in his first year with the Giants, has been absolutely brilliant.
It's unbelievable. If you want to know the definition of a rhythm pitcher and a guy who looks like he's playing catch and having fun, that's Johnny Cueto. He'll give you 3, 4 different types of delivery to mess up with the hitter. And his year, 4 wins already with 2 runs or less. That's remarkable. His team has scored 7 games where they've scored 2 runs or less. That record speaks to it.
Fires a strike into Mike Trout. Cueto 5'11", 220. He's 30. He has the best winning percentage of the All-Star break in Giants history. Veteran Gaylord Perry back in 1966 with his record of 13-1, and Mike Trout gets a whiff of that one.
And there's the rocking chair. He's got a quick pitch, normal delivery, and the rocking chair where he'll sit over his leg.
How about that?
There's the quick pitch.
He's athletic. He invents on the mound. He's really a joy to watch.
He really is. And he's got an advantage in this All-Star team game because he's pitching to his catcher.
That'll stay inside. The count evens 2-2.
One of the things when you pitch to your own catcher, you don't have to invent anything. You know, he knows you, he knows what to call, and it just goes smoother. The connection's there.
Best player in the game chops it foul, third base side. He's won the last 2 All-Star Game MVP awards. Mike Trout, a guy who just doesn't slump. Mike Winters works the plate tonight. Kerwin Danley is at first, Marty Foster at second, Bill Welke at third, Adrian Johnson in left, Dan Bellino in right, and Sam Holbrook is in the replay room back in New York. Probably happy to be there, but wishing he was out here in this beautiful setting in San Diego. Here comes 2-2. Base hit. He is a freaking machine. Last year, Mike Trout opened the All-Star game with a shot down the line that got out of the park. And I bet you're glad you retired before Mike Trout came along.
Yeah, amen. This guy can do it all, and certainly he can go up the middle, he can hit the gaps, and he's got power to all fields. The only thing that he has basically reduced lately is his running game. He broke into the league. He could steal any base he wanted, and that's been tempered a little bit. Different style, different way we approach the game today.
Batter now is Manny Machado. And a check on Trout.
American League. There's some pitchers in the National League. They're going to have a hard time holding runners. Cueto's not one of them per se, but look for the American League to take any base they can.
Machado gets under it a little bit off the hands, and Gonzalez stalks it. 2 out.
I often said in an All-Star game, when you know you're only pitching 1, maybe 2 innings, you have to approach it like a 9th inning. You grind on every pitch because you know the hitters are going to be aggressive. If you make a really good pitch, you have the opportunity to get them out.
There are some in the seats now up and standing for David Ortiz, who, John, we had a chance to talk to 2 days ago. And Tom Verducci said it during our pregame show. With all the accomplishments, he'll, in my estimation, ride on into Cooperstown, New York, and be the first DH to get there. Although Edgar Martinez should be there as well, at least in my opinion. This guy is relaxed. He's got a good lineup around him in Boston, and in some ways, at the age of 40, is in the best shape of his career and putting together the best offensive season of his career.
No doubt. And let me reassure you, he's going to retire. It is emphatic. He knows at peace with what he's done in the game, and he knows his body cannot take what it needs to get through a season. The travel and everything that baseball players go through on a daily basis.
So he's relaxed. He doesn't have a care in the world, and he is. He's having one of his best seasons, if not his best season, to end his unbelievable career.
Here's the 0-1. Mike Trout walked up while we were talking, and Trout said to David Ortiz, how can you retire? You're ripping the cover off the ball. And Ortiz looked at Trout and said, can I have your feet? If I can have your feet, I'll keep playing.
That's his base. That's what he needs.
Ball 1 down and in. Look at this. He leads the major leagues in extra base hits, on base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS, which is on base plus slugging. No player has ever led baseball in any of those 4 categories in their final season, let alone at his age, at the age of 40.
It's magical. He's earned his way here in the All-Star game. They're hoping in his team back in Boston he can get to the postseason for one final time. It is a dream year. You cannot map something out. I applaud guys knowing when the time is to walk away, but to have this kind of year, it's incredible.
Have you seen a more clutch player come along in the last, I don't know, 30 years?
Listen, he's one of the most intelligent hitters we have in our game. He's a superstar that everybody knows that he does it the right way. You can't help but be around him. I had a short time playing with him in Boston. It's infectious. And I think the one thing for Big Papi, he knows his role. He knows how to play the game. And he's one of the best intelligent hitters that we have.
He got under it. Big swing. Popped up to the right side, and it will get out of play. I think now that Jeter has retired, maybe it was different with Jeter. There was an adoration. There was a respect there for Derek Jeter. There is nobody on the player's side more beloved than David Ortiz.
And at the same time, happy for him, right? Even though you got to compete against him.
Wow. Well, his first All-Star game was in 2004. He went deep in that game. And then who knew what was to come later that October. He's number 2 in team history to Ted Williams in home runs with the White Sox when he was the MVP of that terrific American League Championship Series and a comeback win over New York.
There's some people in our industry that don't think you can reproduce clutch. I'm here to tell you, you can. This guy knows the moment, is not afraid of the moment, and because he's not afraid of the moment, he's been able time after time to come up with huge hits for the Boston Red Sox.
That is a pick by Rizzo. And he just took an extra base hit away and maybe a run. What a dig by Anthony Rizzo on a rocket hit by David Ortiz. The Cubs making plays, 1-0 NL after 1. third year in a row, Pepsi is the title partner of the All-Star Week Block Party and is providing MLB fans with exclusive experiences ranging from sports to music and other fun. Remember to hashtag Say It With Pepsi this summer and find your emoji today. Thank Pepsi and all our sponsors for helping to bring you this All-Star game. New pitcher is Corey Kluber, former Cy Young Award winner, representing the Indians. One pitch, a shot back up the middle. Off the bat of Posey. Altuve makes the play, 1 out. John, I think they're going up there with the idea to swing early.
No doubt. Some of these hitters are trying to beat the shadows. You see the first pitch fastball, and you see the shadows behind the pitcher right now. Those are going to be creeping in. And maybe Kluber thought that ball was hit a little firmer than it was, but nonetheless, Altuve able to pick him up. Kluber, one of those guys with great secondary stuff. Slider curveball combination led him to winning the Cy Young in the American League.
Yeah, but how about this combination? Tied for the league lead in wins in 2014 when he won the Cy Young. Then he led the league in losses last year. And now he's back on a first-place team in Cleveland.
Yeah, good.
As things have turned around in Cleveland, Ohio. They got the NBA championship, and they've got a fun, young, well-managed by our friend Terry Francona team with the Indians. Rizzo now took a ball, now another.
Rizzo, the hottest hitter probably coming in here. He had gone through a stretch of 8 consecutive hits till his last at bat before the All-Star break, made an out. So you got to believe it's a beach ball to him right now.
Oh, look out. Whistling into the seats, and hopefully everybody's okay over there. Rizzo is hit 376. 10 homers, 28 RBIs since the 26th of May. So while the Cubs have tapered off a little bit, their big first baseman has been scorching hot. 2-2.
A little bit of the Rodney Dangerfield of the Cubs, because talking to Joe Madden says nobody talks about this guy. We've got stars all over, but this guy is Mr. Consistent, and all he does is put up numbers, and he is their leader on the team with a team full of stars.
Hey, let me tell you, first baseman waiting and grounded to first. 2 out. Let's send it down to Tommy Verducci.
Thanks, Joe. Chris Bryant, you played your college baseball here in San Diego. The first thing you did is hit your favorite donut shop. The second thing you did is hit a home run. Describe what it means, all-star home run here in San Diego.
A lot to me. I mean, I got a lot of friends and family here, and honestly, like, I was just out there thinking, like, not many people get a chance to hit a home run in an all-star game. So I mean, I'm going to cherish this moment for a long time.
Chris, thanks so much.
Yeah.
Tom, thank you. Rose's Donuts at the bottom of the hill. He went to University of San Diego, which is one of the prettiest campuses in the country. And at the bottom of the hill, first thing he did was go there. He likes the sausage, egg, and cheese croissant, and I think a red velvet donut.
Yeah, he
owed to be 24.
And you can't get that smile off his face. That's what makes him so enjoyable to watch. Of course, Chicago. He is a star in Chicago and a star in this league for a lot of years to come.
Here's Marcell Ozuna. What a year he's having. That's hooked down the line. Is it fair? It is foul. Home run distance, but pulled foul. And Marcell Ozuna, who's hitting .307 with 17 home runs for a good young Marlins club, almost doubled the lead. In the Dominican Republic, really good center fielder. He can run, still learning how to steal bases as he takes one outside, and man, Kluber can rush it up there in a hurry.
Kluber's tough on right-handers, as you can imagine, as is their staff on that Central Division, especially the Tigers. You think about all their right-handed power. Is really why they're leading the division. Their arms are so good in the starting rotation that it quiets a lot of power bats.
Had a hiccup with Danny Salazar. His elbow flared up, an all-star who came here and was introduced to the crowd before the game, but not available. Not DL. That's a foul ball again, and Ozuna's putting together a good at-bat against Kluber. Trying to get on in front of Carlos Gonzalez. Number 8 hitter and former batting champion with the Rockies. Here's a 2-2. Right down the middle. 1-2-3 inning for Kluber. American League will bat, trailing by 1 in the bottom of the second.
Vote for Trout and have no doubt. I'm voting for this guy. Vote for Harper, the candidate with great hair.
Read my lips. No more errors.
Back-to-back All-Star Game MVPs. I've got the experience you want.
Vote Manny.
Vote Harper.
A smile you can trust.
It's definitely a tough pick. I wouldn't even begin to ask you who of that quartet you would go with, but look at these numbers, John. First time All-Stars 34, 27 guys in this game, 26 or younger. And you watch them walk through the door to the clubhouse, you don't know if they're here to play baseball or play football. They're big.
Yeah, it's unbelievable seeing guys up close. You see him from afar and you go, all right, I know he's a good player and he's well built, but man.
Here's Bogaerts, one hopper to third, and Bryant guides it across. Xander Bogaerts, who is just 23 and really coming into his own, and a guy who was just a kid, just turned 21 when he was a shortstop for the world champion Red Sox in 2013. But now it's all starting to click for that kid who played more soccer growing up in Aruba than baseball, so still relatively new to this game as Eric Hosmer stands in.
Yeah, be careful here. He is coming out of his shoes first pitch. He loves the first pitch, as does most of these guys in the lineup. What makes Cueto so tough, besides those deliveries, his changeup off his fastball is really difficult for the hitters. There, that changeup.
1 ball, 1 strike on Hosmer, who is a terrific first baseman. Spray line drive hitter, probably the best defensive first baseman of the game. Cole Hamels from San Diego is getting loose. He'll be the third pitcher. Hosmer hits one to left. Back at the wall. This game's tied.
you know, the Royals and Ned Yost would like to get back to where they were the last 2 years. Hosmer, big swing, attacks early. He's got power, as you can imagine, to all parts of the field. And this is a two-seamer that stays over the heart of the plate. And Hosmer deposited in the left field wall.
His slugging percentage and OPS has gone up each of the last 3 years. And just a vital piece to that postseason machine that Dayton Moore and Ned Yost have put together with the Kansas City Royals as Mookie Betts stands in. One of the 2 young outfielders starting in this game from the Red Sox. Base hit. What a year Betts is putting together. Hitting .304 with 18 home runs for a guy who's not big, but he's strong, and so's Hosmer.
Yeah, these hitters, you know, we talked about the shadows coming, so they want to take advantage of anything that looks straight. Any fastball that comes up there, Hosmer. You'll remember that home run for a long time in the All-Star game.
Salvador Perez. These two were battery mates last year down the stretch and into the postseason. Johnny Cueto and Salvador Perez. And Perez is now at the top of the list of the best catchers in the game, combining offense and defense. Learning how to pull with power. And you can't even hear it, a ball and a strike.
Well, that is not fair or fun for a guy who catches just about every game. You could make a case he's Kansas City's MVP. Even if his numbers may not show it, he just drilled that ball off his leg. And Posey giving him the time by going out to talk to Cueto. Let's see if the pitcher will cut him a break by not going back in there. More than likely, you see the shin guard just above it. In a regular season game, I could almost guarantee Cueto would go right back in there.
Gives him a little more time for the pain to subside. A check on Mookie Betts. We're going to hear from Eric Hosmer here in a moment. Perez has hit 14 home runs. Signed one of the most club-friendly contracts a few years ago. The Royals have redone it. He is a good one. Into left. Back at the wall. And gone. Salvador Perez has made it 3-1 AL. MVP of one of the best teams in baseball, and Salvador Perez just flexed for an All-Star break.
Well, they tried to go back in there, although being a lot lower. That ball was up over the middle of the plate. Maybe after hitting the ball on his leg, he got his leg down quick.
Swing and a miss by Jackie Bradley Jr. Here it is.
His front leg gets down. Ball. See how it stays up. And that was a no doubt.
That's off the end of the bat. Tough play. Posey will let it go. Fair ball. Base hit for Bradley, and that's 4 in a row. Looked like it was going to turn left, and it stayed right on the line. And Bradley will take it.
One more look at the home run. There's the two-seam fastball. See how it misses the target where Posey wants it. Everybody at this point, even including the pitcher, you know that ball is gone. Somebody gets a souvenir, as now the pain on his leg is not as great as it once was.
The Royals going deep here in the second. And they're playing in this game for their manager, Ned Yost. Altuve, strike one. And Yost just popped his laptop down when we were in his office, and I said, "You trying to get everybody in the game? You're trying to win the game." And he kind of glared like, "I'm trying to win the game. If I don't play somebody tough."
Well, he won it last year.
And so did the Royals. In tight on Altuve. So this has turned into a longer effort than I'm sure either Johnny Cueto wanted, than his manager Bruce Bochy wanted, than the front office of the Giants wanted, and I would imagine any more trouble he may exit. It's one thing to get the start, it's another to be stretched out and have to rebound from it at the beginning of the second half.
Oh, this guy's such an aggressive hitter as Altuve, but if you get the ball down, maybe he can entice a ground ball to the Cubs infield.
That's a foul ball. Jose Fernandez from the Marlins is getting loose. So he'll be next in either mid-inning or in the third.
I don't know how many All-Star games Bradley will end up playing, but you know somewhere down the road he'll be telling his children and grandchildren, I hit a frozen rope.
Instead, it was about 42 feet.
I'll take it, he says.
Altuve goes down swinging. Let's swing it down to Ken Rosenthal.
Thanks, Joe. Eric, that's the first home run by a Royal in an All-Star game since Bo Jackson in 1989. This is your first. You told me how excited you were to be here, soaking it all in. What was it like going around the bases?
Oh man, it was unbelievable, and you know, couldn't even get an interview in before Salvi came back and turned around and did that. So you know, this whole week, this whole San Diego All-Star game has been unbelievable. You know, it's a dream come true, and you know, it kind of felt like my first big league homer right there. It was special.
Eric, thanks very much.
Congratulations to Eric Hosmer. Salvador Perez, part of a 3-run inning. Cueto out. And the hard-throwing right-hander Fernandez coming in from the Marlins here in the second. Jose Fernandez, who has gone through a lot in his young career, comes in. Johnny Cueto an inning and 2/3, but here's Fernandez, who is from Villa Clara, Cuba. He's been through Tommy John. He's a big personality. His arm has come back, and he's only 23 years old. I mean, this is one of the prized young hurlers in the game in a long time.
I mean, this really is what they look like. Imagine breaking into a career and going 24-1 at home and winning your first 17 games. It just doesn't seem possible. There's the numbers updated, 25-1. That is taking care of business. This is who I wanted to be if I come back, because his fastball slider, it's really a power curveball. His curveball can be unhittable for right-handers.
2-1 pitch is on the inside corner to Trout, who is the first American League player with a hit in each of his first 5 All-Star games. who said he's back-to-back MVP in this Midsummer Classic, and he's the second player with 6 hits in an All-Star game before turning 25. Griffey Jr. the other, and congratulations to Ken, who will be enshrined at Cooperstown Baseball's Hall of Fame this summer.
Just overthrowing just a little bit, out of character coming out of the pen, not starting an inning, trying to get an out.
Strikeout ends the inning. 2 homers in it. Back after this word from your local Fox station after Hosmer and Perez go deep.
Well, we've been on a big stage before. We've been here before. We've been on the stage before.
Well, it's the third pitcher of the game for the American League. That American League manager must be crazy. Here's a base hit into center off the bat of Carlos Gonzalez, and just teasing our buddy Ned Yost. Ned, your Kansas City Royals just went deep in the bottom of the second. That had to feel good for you guys.
Yeah, I told Haas, they made me feel like a proud papa. You know, two homers from Haas and by Salvi was really fun to watch.
I said earlier that when I asked you, you trying to get everybody in this game or you trying to win it, you kind of popped your laptop down and glared at me as only Ned Yost can do and said, I'm trying to win this game. And so far so good, huh?
Yeah, so far so good. You know, we try to set forth a strategy with our pitching, you know, where our guys can come in, starters can come in and just kind of blow it out for one inning, you know, just like Chris Sale said yesterday at the press conference, just let it eat for an inning and, you know, keep putting power on pitchers in there and guys that are experienced and, you know, been successful and see what happens.
It's kind of silly to say that a bullpen's good. Any bullpen would be on an all-star team, but man, you get a lead into the middle innings of this thing. Here is Addison Russell flying one into center. Back is Trout with room. Tagging is Gonzalez. And he will not test Mike Trout. I was just going to say, and we'll let you go here in a sec, you get a lead late, and man, you can go shut down with your bullpen.
Well, that was the plan. You know, that was the plan. That was, you know, that's been very successful for us in Kansas City. And, you know, we tried to do that last year here, and it worked great. And we thought we'd try that strategy again.
I know you're having fun. How good has the city of San Diego been for this All-Star game?
It's been phenomenal. This is, I mean, one of the funnest cities to come to in all of baseball, and the stadium's gorgeous and the weather's gorgeous, and it's just a fantastic place to play.
All right, we're going to see you in October.
I hope so. You know, we've got to get a little bit healthy, but you know, our guys are hanging in there, and we're due for a couple of good runs, so we're excited about the second half.
Well, we always enjoy it. Thank you, sir. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, guys.
All right, that's Ned Yost, former coach with you for a number of years in Atlanta.
Yeah, I know Ned very well, and certainly all that he's been through. Think about all the way back to that wild card game, and what a wild card game it was. That massive comeback against the A's, and then what the Royals almost did against the Giants, and what they did last year. What a 3-year run for the Kansas City Royals.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Ben Zobrist. Cole Hamels, who is from this area, he's a San Diegan, and he is really honored and excited to pitch here in this game. He grew up idolizing Tony Gwynn. A nice moment for the family of Mr. Padre before tonight's game. And if you missed it, they are now going to call the National League batting champion the Tony Gwynn National League batting champion. And why not, for a guy who is an 8-time batting champ, 15-time All-Star, and a wonderful human. Here's an out at second. That's the only one the AL can get, as Carlos Gonzalez gets up, spikes high, and pretends to go at the body of Jose Altuve. Those two have a nice little moment. 2 out, runner at first, and the batter will be Bryce Harper. Tonight's Dell trivia question: who drove in Tony Gwynn to win the 1994 All-Star game for the National League? Zobrist now 0 for 2, and here is Bryce Harper, who, John, is kind of starting to learn what Barry Bonds learned the second half of his incredible career, and that is you may get 1 pitch in at bat to hit. Joe Madden really kind of started it this year. Great start for Bryce Harper. Madden just said, you're walking, and Harper's been struggling to get it back since then.
Well, he's still so young and so talented. Monster year last year.
A rocket into left center field. This ball will be cut off. Good play by Bradley. Harper is into second with a double. And one of the best, most exciting young talents to come along in a long time has his first All-Star game hit, now 1 for 8.
Well, his ability to change from last year and this year has already been evident. He doesn't swing at some of the pitches he did last year, and he barrels the ball to all parts of the park. What Bryce Harper has is a unique approach to hitting, and obviously the respect of the league that will treat him like one of the best power hitters in the game, even though he's only been in the game a very short time.
2012 Rookie of the Year, MVP last year, and the youngest unanimous MVP in baseball history at 22. And the kid's out at second and third with 2 down for Chris Bryant, who's already homered tonight.
Yeah, you see a changeup first pitch. He was not going to get a fastball. Good low ball hitter, but you can get him to the back foot on a breaking ball to get with 2 strikes. Right about there. Because he loves to go after the ball. He has such incredible leverage. Taller guy, already playing many more positions than anyone could have expected. But his offense is what everybody talked about in the minor leagues, and he has not disappointed.
So the youngest Cub to homer in an All-Star game since the 4th All-Star game ever. Wow. Lays off. I'm blown away how Chris Bryant can do what he's done at the plate. Joe Madden has so much confidence in him. He can play third, he can play first, he can play center, he can play left. He bounces around, but it does not affect him. Out in front of that changeup in the count 2-2.
That's a great changeup. You'd see his fastball delivery, but the changeup and the grip, this ball just doesn't get there. A little fade at the end. And you're right, Joe. I mean, people do not understand at home. It is not that easy to play one position in the big leagues, yet alone 4 or 5.
Oh, good dig by Perez. That saved a run. Zobrist was on his toes.
Well, he tried to duplicate, and he just pulled that changeup. That happens when you got a little extra adrenaline in a game that you would not be able to duplicate in a regular season game. This will be the closest thing to a postseason environment for guys who haven't experienced it yet.
3-2 pitch now. Salvador Perez, who's flashing the signs, has won the last 3 Gold Glove awards in the American League, and the hometowner, young Will Myers, who is finally healthy and showing just how good he is, waits on deck. Got him. Looked like another change, and Cole Hamels gets around the hit by Gonzalez and the double by Harper. Bottom of the 3rd inning rolls in. Here's that moment with Gonzalez and Altuve. Everybody's friends here in San Diego. 3-1 AL. Hey, let's play some ball. Bottom of the 3rd inning, 3-1 American League on top. Manny Machado, first pitch, swinging, a bouncer to Bryant. Throw takes off, but 1 out. And with 1 down, Manny Machado, who stars for the first place Orioles, rounds out. Tonight's telecast presented by MasterCard and sponsored by Bud Light Lime. Live limed. Living is good around San Diego. Weather is seemingly ideal every day. Here's David Ortiz.
I would anticipate fastballs thrown to David Ortiz by Fernandez, because I think that's what he said he was going to do. And he didn't do it.
He guided one in there, and I think that may be why Ortiz is smiling. All right, here comes a 1-0 pitch. There's the heat at 95. 1 ball, 1 strike. David Ortiz has talked about how John Farrell, the manager of the Red Sox, was changing up the schedule for a while in the second half of the season because of the travel demands, the high number of night games on getaway day. And so he's doing what we've seen Joe Madden do in the past, and that is nobody's in the ballpark, stay away until 2:30. That keeps Ortiz up there at 2-2.
And he's being honest with his manager, saying this is a day I need off because my body's telling me this. And again, when you get to this point and you've worked as hard as he has to get to this kind of level, you know your body, you know what works, and you just be honest.
Well, he's been a joy to watch, and somebody who was released in 2002 by the Minnesota Twins. Here's the next, and Ortiz, the left side of the infield, pretty open. Fouls it back, still a full count.
And I'm just telling you right now, if there was a runner in scoring position, this would be the defense, and he would hit the ball the other way if he needs to. He told us that in a meeting. He can go to left field and right field, depending on the situation.
Here is a one-out walk. He points out and smiles at the young right-hander Jose Fernandez. Almost got him. And we'll see if that's it. And it is.
This is what it's all about right here.
The beloved David Ortiz. Edwin Encarnacion came off the bench to do the running and take over at that DH spot. He's more than just a baseball player in Boston for the Red Sox. He was an emotional leader at Fenway Park after that horrific bombing at the Boston Marathon. He has really made himself proud in this long big league career. His 10th and final All-Star game here tonight.
You wonder the emotions going through him for all the work he's put in the game and all that he's given the game. If this truly is, which I believe is last year, this will be a moment we'll forever have.
He is part of a Boston team that is certainly good enough to win it all. I'm sure they'll tinker with it at the trading deadline. But that lineup is deep, young, and good with him in the center of it. And here's a part of that. Xander Bogaerts, strike one.
Yeah, I've never seen a team lead offensive categories in almost every one. And so if they can get any pitching in the second half, which I believe they will get and or trade for, look out.
That is down the left field line. It is fair and into the corner. Encarnacion right off the bench digging for third, and he will hold there on a double by Bogaerts.
This kid is so quick with his bat. Look how quick he gets the barrel of the ball. Hooks it down the line for a double. Such an early age, taking over shortstop for the Boston Red Sox. That is quick hands right there. Pull your hands in, get the barrel of the ball. That's why you're hitting over 330.
So the double sets up Eric Hosmer, who homered his first time the other way, and Fernandez is going to have to do some pitching to get out of this. Good start to it, strike one. You know, there are certain positions. You think about Buster Posey, who is a three-time champion at catcher for the San Francisco Giants. 2010, 2012, 2014. And then there's a young guy who is 21 in Bogaerts. Those are two defensive positions where things are coming at you fast, and Bogaerts was good enough at 21 on a World Series champ in 2013.
Yeah, we could say all we want about the big leagues being rushed to the big leagues, whether it's a pitcher or position player, but never have there been more polished, ready superstars at such a young age to handle that position.
That is right through Bryant into left field. Encarnacion will score, and Hosmer's having a night. A rocket for an RBI single.
Bryant has no chance right here. This ball squared up over the center. We've already seen him go the other way, but that ball gets on Bryant in a hurry.
Joe Madden, the manager for the Chicago Cubs, is watching in Naples, Florida. And I guarantee you his first thought was, Chris, get out of the way. We need you for the second half. And you can see Fernandez saying, wow, that was a bullet. Batter now is Betts. Former second baseman now patrolling the outfield for the Red Sox. And what a year. 304, 18, 59 RBIs, 15 steals, and 16 tries.
You talk about a quick bat.
Now first and third, one out, and a 2-0 count on Mookie Betts.
You saw Fernandez go, wow, where was that? That was a breaking ball. A perfect breaking ball, but didn't get the call.
There's a better one. Prior to injuries that hit this National League staff, they had a chance to roll into this All-Star game with Kershaw, Syndergaard, a rolling Jake Arrieta, Strasburg, to add to the guys they already have. That is hard hit and foul, 2-2.
Yeah, you're talking about one of the most dynamic starting staff that the history of the All-Star game could have seen. But due to some injuries in 2 weeks, really, that changed it all. You're talking about starters versus dominant closers, basically, is what the American League can throw at you. Now that they have the lead, I would look at 2 more innings, and then you're going to see relievers.
Good job by Betts to get a piece. Talk about Jake Arrieta, who we most likely will not see in this game. His run has been almost unheard of in baseball history, but he's hit a bump here lately. That's a foul ball. And he's hit a bump while the Cubs have as well. Garbage Time with Katie Nolan has been called epic, witty, and refreshing in the future of sports TV. Don't miss all new episodes of the Emmy-winning sensation Wednesdays at 11:30 Eastern and Pacific, only on FS1, with a swinging Fryer and a kiss on the cheek. This one back to Fernandez. Good play. Out. Out. Inning over. But a run scores for the AL, and it sends us into the 4th inning of this 87th All-Star game. Katie having fun in the sun in San Diego. American League on top by 3. Go to Fox Sports on Facebook and you will see our booth camera live for the entire inning.
I don't have Facebook, but it's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. I mean, all the kids, all the crazy kids are using it. Aaron Sanchez is now the pitcher representing the Toronto Blue Jays.
This is a great story for me. Aaron Sanchez is going to have some innings limits, but is he a starter? Is he a closer? Well, what he is an all-star that's got a dynamic arm, great stuff, and in the future, I think a starter for the rest of his career.
Fourth pitcher of the night for the American League, and the AL leads it by 3. Who's that guy managing the National League side? His name is Terry Collins, one of our favorites. And Terry Collins, you having any fun so far?
Oh, this is fun. I can tell you, watching him play is fun.
Here is the next from Sanchez, and that's in for a strike. I thought a nice touch by you to put this kid right in the middle of the lineup, Terry, hometown Padre Will Myers.
Well, you know, they've all got great numbers. I just thought it would be fun to put a Padre in the lineup. And, you know, they certainly he's had a great year, and he got a great ovation, which he should.
3 balls and a strike to Will Myers, leading it off. You know, it seems to us in the booth that with the makeup of that American League pitching staff, you guys better get after it here soon, Terry, because you get into those shutdown relievers, and this won't help. Here is Bogarts. 1 out. Is that how you see it?
That's exactly how we see it. We've been talking, but you know, I look down the bench here, and I'm going to put some guys in here who can hit. You know, and so we got a long way to go in this game yet.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. How's your Mets club? It seems like it's been a lot of fits and starts and trying to get on a roll. And any news on Syndergaard? I know he played catch today.
Yeah, he played catch today, and he's feeling a lot better. You know, just you can't explain you can't understand what it's like when you don't get much rest in the offseason. These guys pitched a lot of innings last year, pitched in the World Series, and we're just seeing the ramifications of a lot of work.
You know, one of the cool things about the All-Star game is getting in the same clubhouse with guys that you've seen from a distance. And somebody we were talking about earlier, Corey Seager, the shortstop for the Dodgers. I haven't seen anybody that impressive physically at that position in a long time. How about you?
I haven't either. I mean, I walked up to him the other day, and now, you know, we've played him enough to see him on the other side of the field, but when I walked up to him, I was shocked about how big. Of course, everybody's big to me, but this guy's really big.
Well, you've got Buster Posey at the plate. There's a guy you don't have to worry about.
No, I'll tell you what, he's what a pro he is. I mean, this guy, maybe one of the best catchers in all of baseball, and a great offensive player and a great person.
Yeah, and somebody you told you, hey, if you need me to come back in, I'll hang around and be available for you. This guy's just a gamer.
He is a gamer, and you know, you wouldn't find that from stars. After they come out of the game, they like to sit down and relax. And I told him we can bring a catcher back in. He said, hey, I'll be there for you at the end of the game. So that's the kind of guy he is.
All right, you got Rizzo coming up, and then you're going to start managing this thing. So we'll let you go.
All right, thanks, guys. Thanks.
Be well. Good guy right there.
Yeah, he really is, and he's dealing with something that was a little unexpected last year, the Mets' late run, and now they're dealing with the ramifications of just how do you get that young pitching staff through not only this year, the second half, and make a run again, if they can, to the playoffs.
1 on 1 out after the walk to Posey, and the batter is Anthony Rizzo, and with one swing of the bat, he has the ability of making this a 1-run game. Talked about how hot he is coming in, and he is fearless at the plate. That's fair. Down the right field line, digging it out in the right field corner is Betts, and going first to third is Posey, and there's action for the National League here in the 4th inning.
It's a guy that doesn't mind getting hit. He's on top of the plate, and you wouldn't think there's room between Hosmer and the first base bag, but he hits it so firmly that even the really good fielding Hosmer cannot get over to knock it down.
So Posey, who can move for a catcher, goes first to third, and here is Marcell Ozuna, who got the start. A couple of injuries hit the outfield positions for the National League. Dexter Fowler of the Cubs, he's close to coming back and was heartbroken that his hamstring wasn't ready to be in this game as the 5th starter for the Cubs. And Yoenis Cespedes, who is just taking it easy. Had a little muscle strain and hopes to be fine in the second half of the season, but not pushing it in this All-Star game. So here's Ozuna. What a chance. Slaps at it. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, you know, we get numbers for everything in this game, and Marcell Ozuna, against all-star participants, has got the most home runs. He's got 4. So he's not afraid of how the great pitching that he's faced, hitting some home runs. And you can see a little bit of nerves maybe for Sanchez in his first game here.
That's up the middle, a base hit, and the National League is down by 2. And the young Marcell Ozuna has driven home Posey, and the tying runs are on. And that's just a good at bat, good swing by young Marcell Ozuna, and a base hit to give him a smile.
Yeah, great feeling. This ball was hit pretty firmly back up the middle. 96 miles an hour is the capability of what you got to look for off of Sanchez. And now the motor starts working as a young pitcher. When you're in an all-star game, you go, oh man, this is great. Okay, this is great. All right, now I got to get an out, and then I got to get another out. And you sometimes can get a little ahead of yourself and create a moment that you would never create in a regular season game.
Well, they say make a memory. Here's a chance for Carlos Gonzalez, pride of the Rockies, and maybe on the trading block. A breaking ball is in from Sanchez for strike 1. Gonzalez, his first time up, singled. He'd love one here or something bigger. That's outside, a ball and a strike.
It's amazing the emotions when you get here and prepare for, you know, it's going to be 1 inning, and you hope to have your emotions in check and be as calm as you can, and then until you experience it, and he has, he'll make the adjustments next time he gets to this place, which he will.
Well, you think about the career of Carlos Gonzalez. He's hit 88 home runs to tie a game or give the Rockies the lead, which is the most in the National League since 2010. So when the pressure's on, this guy usually rises to it or above it. 2-1 pitch. 2-2.
Well, he's got one of the prettiest swings down. That ball is up. He fought it off. Watching the home run competition, you can tell where a guy likes it. And he's got a pretty swing, and this ball just gets above his hands a little bit, but he certainly will crush pitches that are even too low to go after for most hitters.
Here is a 2-2. Just got a piece, and a good job by Gonzalez to do that. Every 4 years, the best baseball players in the world compete for country, pride, and glory. The World Baseball Classic returns March 2017 on MLB Network. For more information, visit worldbaseballclassic.com.
See right there, just casting the breaking ball. That was what I said early in the game, the touch pitches. Those are going to be the ones you really have, and you would seem like, well, you've thrown them all year. What's the difference? You're just a little bit more tightly wound, and you're a little bit more adrenaline that it can affect that secondary pitch.
3-2 pitch is a bullet hit to Altuve. No double play as Ozuna did well to get back. Can't hit it any harder. Good play by Jose Altuve.
This is unbelievable. You see right at the cusp of the shadow, has the ability to turn and look and see if he can get the double play. That ball, we've got all kinds of metrics to determine how far and how hard a ball is hit. This one had to be over 100 miles an hour.
Batter now is the number 9 man, Addison Russell. He's got an opportunity, to me, John, to really, talking about Addison Russell, flourish, get his feet underneath him in the big leagues. He's a young guy. He's in his early 20s. With all the focus on Rizzo and Chris Bryant and everything else going on there, he can get his feet underneath him, but that force out ends the inning, and Addison Russell is now 0 for 2 in this game. But a run put up by the NL, driven in by Marcell Ozuna. It's a 4-2 game after 3.5. 16 MLB All-Star Game on Fox is presented by MasterCard. The Budweiser game summary. Chris Bryant went deep in the first inning. Youngest Cub to homer in an All-Star game since 1936. Hosmer, what a night he's already had. 2 for 2, solo shot, RBI single, and Salvador Perez, a 2-run blast. That's the difference in the game right now. He went deep in the second. Changes here for the National League. In the hometowner, Pomerantz is on the mound, the left-hander, who's bounced between starting rotation and bullpen in his career as he's bounced around. Salvador Perez will lead it off. Corey Seager is in at short. And the catcher is Wilson Ramos. Here's Pomerantz. And his first to Perez is outside, ball 1.
I'm always intrigued with these kind of stories. If I told this young man, hey, you're going to make the All-Star team going into spring training, he'd have probably looked at me and said, what? I'm trying to fight for a starting job because I'm in the bullpen. At least that's the thought for the San Diego Padres. He's a guy that commands fastball, doesn't overwhelm you with velocity, mix and matches his curveball with changeup, and an abbreviated windup. Looks like he's out of the stretch.
That breaking ball's fouled by Perez. The count 2-1. ERA is 2.47, so he's under 2.5, and that's 4th best in baseball. Last Padre to end the season in the top 5 is Jake Peavy. That's a fair ball. Bryant has time. 1 out. Well, Perez fouled a ball off his leg and then hung in there and pounded a home run, and we'll give you StatCast numbers.
That's unbelievable. Look at the exit velocity, and then you look at the launch angle with where he hit it. He may have hit his leg harder than that, but nonetheless a rewarded 2-run homer.
Our Amazon StatCast. That's Anthony's to Jackie Bradley Jr. I'll get into that part, John, where changes are going to be coming fast and furious as we play the last 5 innings of this ball game after this 4th. Good swing.
That breaking ball you just saw prior to that pitch, that's what makes Pomerantz so tough. His ability to throw that pitch, and then his fastball looks a little bit faster. It's got an extra foot to it to the hitter after seeing a slow breaking ball.
Here's an 0-2. Another good swing by Bradley. Lefty on lefty. Pomerantz, he's out there. I mean, if you're a team that's looking for not just a starter, Pomerantz has proven he can pitch out of a bullpen. The market for pitching is pretty thin. I mean, this is somebody that the club could go get. Here's a base hit left field. What a good piece of hitting by Bradley. Just served it through that hole, and he's on with 1 out in the 4th.
Yeah, fighting with 2 strikes. Bradley a couple years ago been sent down, didn't know the future for this young outfielder, and now he's in the All-Star game. Had a great long hitting streak and certainly found his stroke and his place with the Boston Red Sox. Once crowded outfield, they're now pretty confident that guy playing center field every day.
So 1 on 1 out, back to the top of the order, and Jose Altuve, who is just unbelievable. Altuve is 5'6". That's how they list him. It's his 4th All-Star game. He's only 26. Venezuelan infielder is #1 in baseball the last 2.5 seasons in average hits, doubles. He flips it out into right center field, and this ball is handled by Ozuna. 2 out.
I got a sneaky suspicion that in the near future, you're going to see him in a home run hitting competition.
Well, you know, you look at a guy and you say, okay, he's 5'6", so he's not tall, obviously. He ran out with that kid during the pregame introduction of the lineups. They were about the same size, but he's got big shoulders and he is strong.
He really is. Quick bat, and he hasn't seen a pitch he doesn't like. That's for sure.
Well, here's strong. Mike Trout is 1 for 2, and he bats with 2 out. Sitting on 18 home runs for an Angels club that is struggling. 15 under 500 and 16.5 out in the West. Behind the Texas Rangers as they've taken command. Good job by Bryant to get the high hop. And the force out ends the inning. That sends us into the 5th in this All-Star game in San Diego. 4-2 AL. By MasterCard and sponsored by the Ford F-150. Every other truck is history. And by HP. Luxury has made its way to business. HP, reinvent obsession. All right, this fall, it's the story of the first woman to play Major League Baseball. Kylie Bunbury and Mark-Paul Gosselaar star in pitch. And the category of full disclosure, John and I are in the show, and I think you've seen it. I got sent the pilot. Have you seen it?
I haven't yet.
It's really good. I'm not talking about us. I mean the writing and the acting, and I can't wait for that to debut.
I'll be honest, I was a little concerned that what I did might lead to a future maybe in acting, but well, probably not. You saw it.
No, it was almost believable. Here's Daniel Murphy against the new left-hander as Quintana. Jose Quintana from the White Sox takes over. How about Daniel Murphy?
Unbelievable. It's got to be a little bittersweet for Terry Collins as he's watching what once was his property now play for the rival Washington Nationals.
He's jammed here. Good pitch by Quintana. Dropped and out. Well, they may want to look at that again. Daniel Murphy is staying there. I think it looked like with a naked eye from up here, he was safe. Here's the bobble by Altuve. Murphy's not going back to the dugout. And we may have a replay. Let's see. He is safe. And they're going to go in and check that out. First base umpire, John, is Kerwin Danley.
Yeah. Altuve just got in between, really, between the cut and the grassy. And the ball just pops out of his glove. But Daniel Murphy, when you think about what he's done against the Mets, this is unbelievable. We're talking about last year carrying the Mets, then signing with the Nationals, coming back. Those numbers just don't make sense. when you think about what he's been able to do for the Nationals and what he did for the Mets a year ago.
They reviewed it. Safe is the call, and Murphy knew it, so he never moved. And the leadoff man is on what will be an error, he would think, on Altuve on that ball to his left. The drop, and it cost him.
Yeah, I thought when Murphy jumped for the bag, that might have cost him, because you see the heel get down before the toe, sometimes just running hard through the bag.
Here is the terrific Paul Goldschmidt. It is an error on Altuve, who's made only 3 all year with Houston. And the Astros are making noise in the AL West and in that AL wildcard picture for sure. They're getting hot. Goldschmidt.
This guy's a stud. He just goes about his business every day. Puts up MVP type numbers at first base.
He's a 2-time Gold Glove Award winner. He can run for a big guy. He's patient. He's been second in the MVP voting 2 times. And he gets under this one. Flips it into right. Easy for Betts. 1 on, 1 out.
For the White Sox and Quintana. He's been a tough luck pitcher. Not a lot of runs have been scored for this young man, and he's had a real good year. All-star worthy. Commands the ball to his arm side. When I say arm side, that's away to a right-hander. And he comes right after him with a fastball, changeup, and breaking ball.
If you haven't seen the guy that's digging in at the plate, not only look at those numbers, is he obviously a tremendous offensive player. Kenny Rosenthal in his notes to us is Arenado grounds left side. Machado, a good play for the out. 2 down. And a guy who's been called this generation's Brooks Robinson with the way he plays third base. Gets to see just how athletic that big third baseman is for the Orioles.
Unbelievable. He started at shortstop, moved him over to third, hasn't missed a beat. But Nolan Arenado, everyone talks about playing in Colorado. He's hit just as many home runs on the road that he has at home. So this guy can hit him anywhere. It's not just his home ballpark that he benefits from.
Well, here is Will Myers, former minor league player of the year with the Kansas City Royals, and was traded to Tampa Bay and has since been traded to the San Diego Padres.
Yeah. It's like a flame temper. That's why it looks like
0 for 2 tonight. That is into right center field. Arenado will dig for third. Into second is Myers. A nice moment for Will Myers, the San Diego Padre, with a 2-out double.
Well, this is the second one of them for the National League with 2 outs. The outfielders are able to cut it off. That prevents a run from scoring, but you see no batting gloves, no problem. Strong extension. This guy hopefully wants to be part of the rebuilding process here in San Diego. He would love to be part of taking San Diego back to prominence.
And now the first at bat for Wilson Ramos. It was really an incredible story. Ramos gets the opportunity here. 28-year-old just having a breakout year. He's played over 88 games in a season, only twice in his career. Injuries have been a problem. He hit .229 last year. This guy's hitting .330, and he takes a strike. The incredible story part is in the fall of 2011, he was kidnapped in his home country of Venezuela. Now representing the first place Nationals in an all-star game, and he is in the hole in a hurry. 0-2.
Great breaking ball right there after painting inside with the fastball. So now he's got Ramos on the defensive. There's a hole to right side if he happens to be able to swing late or serve one that way, and that will tie the game up if the Nationals are so lucky, Ramos, to get a base hit.
The 0-2. 3-pitch strikeout, and Ramos is gone. And with that, it's a 4-2 game halfway through. What a night it's been already. The 2016 MLB All-Star Game on Fox is presented by MasterCard. Partners can be lethal. Damon Wayans and Clayne Crawford proved that. They star in Fox's new action comedy series, Lethal Weapon. The show has it all, and you won't want to miss it, premiering this September. Glad to have them in the Fox family. And as we move into the bottom of the 5th inning, a number of changes. Julio Teheran slings it home at 90, and it's fouled, backing out of play by Machado. Here are the changes. Duvall in left, Herrera now in center, Jay Bruce in right, Arenado at third. We've seen Seager already, Daniel Murphy at second, Paul Goldschmidt, and Teheran on the mound, with Ramos catching, and that fooled Machado strike 2.
Well, for Julio Teheran, of course, the Braves are trying to get back, right? They're trying to build their club and their farm system. It's arms like this that'll help them as soon as they get some offense.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can say, well, Teheran's on the trading block if somebody wants to go get him. But if you want to, as a young guy, you want to compete in the near future, they open a new ballpark next year, then you need a guy like Teheran.
Yeah, they'd have to blow you away with the package that you would get in return.
Reaching for it, flipping at it is Machado, and this ball will die on the track. Caught by Duvall. Machado 0 for 3. We gave you our Dell trivia question. Who drove in Tony Gwynn to win the '94 All-Star game in Pittsburgh? Moises Alou, 10th inning double off. Jason Beret scored Tony. Would let off with a single. The American League had won 6 previous All-Star games. Fred McGriff hit a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 9th off Lee Smith to tie the game. Tony Gwynn, as we mentioned, a 15-time All-Star, and he wore out that spot that he called the 6.5 hole between the shortstop position and the third base position.
Yeah, and he wore me out, and Glavine, and Maddox, and I can't think about San Diego without Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn is the class. He left us too soon. He's the greatest hitter I've ever seen, and he's the guy that you go to when you think about San Diego, the smile, and certainly the history of this town embracing him and what the commissioner was able to do. What an incredible honor. But I think about the 3 of us playing, you know, we played against Tony forever. We were in the West forever. We struck him out 3 times.
No way.
3 collectively. He only struck out 29 times on average for 162 games. That's a bad week for some guys in the game.
Unbelievable. 8-time batting champ. Here's a 1-2. Encarnacion's first at bat. That is back and caught by Ramos. 2 out. Hear those numbers against that great trio of you, Maddox, and Glavine.
That is not a small sample size. That's ownage. That's him sending me a limousine every time I was ready to pitch, making sure I get here. And every time I saw him in the offseason, I always were reminded of that smile and told him, come on, cut us a break. What a hitter, what a player, and what an ambassador for this city and for the game of baseball.
Mr. Padre is a tremendous young talent in the game. Francisco Lindor stands in for the first place Cleveland Indians. That is floated in high for ball 1. There are many organizations that if Lindor was a free agent, they'd cut their shortstop and say come aboard, because there's no telling how good he's going to be. That's out of play.
Yeah, he is dynamic is the best way I can describe it. He can do it all, switch hitter with power, but his defensive skills are crazy. In this day and age where we're seeing the athleticism of players and, yes, shifts, this guy can take care of the whole left side of the infield by himself.
It's number 2 in the voting to Carlos Correa last year in the American League for Rookie of the Year. Hit .313, but it's a note that Ken Rosenthal gives us about Lindor that may be the most impressive in his young career. Puerto Rico, as he pops it up. This should end the inning, but this is a kid who is one of 2 players, Chris Archer the other, who voluntarily visits reviving baseball and inner cities programs, not just in his home city, but on the road. This kid's got it all. Good inning by Teheran. Into the 6th we go. 4-2 American League. We celebrate the 2016 MLB All-Star Game presented by MasterCard. We stand united in the fight against cancer with our partner Stand Up to Cancer. Please join Major League Baseball, MasterCard, Fox, and the entire baseball family in standing up to cancer, and visit standuptocancer.org to find out how you can help today. And now, to pay tribute to those affected by this terrible disease, we welcome back Rachel Platten to sing her hit, Fight Song.
Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion. Like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. And all those things I didn't say were wrecking balls inside my brain. I will scream on loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned up. Started right now, I'll be strong. And I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes. 'Cause I've still got a lot of fire left in me. Come on, San Diego, sing this with me. This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned up. Started right now, I'll be strong. And I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes. 'Cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me. Yeah, I've still got a lot of fight left in me.
Everyone has a reason to stand up to cancer. And this summer, get together for a priceless cause with MasterCard to help fight cancer. Now, spend $10 or more with your MasterCard when you dine out, and MasterCard will donate up to $4 million, one precious cent at a time. Promotion ends on August 19th, or at that $4 million goal. Visit priceless.com/standup to learn more and share your stories using the hashtag #ReasonsToStandUp. They know how to handle the big moments. 2 Royals going deep in this game for the American League. First it was Eric Hosmer, then it was Salvador Perez.
Well, here they come. It's the relievers that Ned Yost has. They all have electric fastballs. They can shut you down.
First up is Jay Bruce, and Herrera, who is filling in for the injured Wade Davis, the tremendous closer on the DL with the Kansas City Royals, and part of that fantastic end of the game combination for Ned Yost is on here in the 6th inning. Jay Bruce, power hitting outfielder for the Cincinnati Reds, waits for an 0-2 and strikes out on 3 pitches. Well, one of the Royals that hit the home run, as we mentioned, Eric Hosmer, and we experienced 360-degree replay from Intel.
And it's giving you a look from all angles, and they all look good if you're Eric Hosmer. Enjoying a great all-star game, as is his team and his manager and the league so far with a 4-2 lead.
Young kid Odubel Herrera from the Philadelphia Phillies stands in. He can run. He's got some pop. He was a Rule 5 player that stuck on the roster last year, and the Phillies could afford that as they're rebuilding. And he takes a pitch up and away for ball 1. You saw the numbers: hitting .294, 10 homers, 33 RBIs, the 12 steals. Trying to get on here in the 6th inning in a 2-run game. Meanwhile, an interesting note for the 5th inning. 2 Colombian-born pitchers went at it. Quintana and Tehran. Prior to this year, there had only been 1 Colombian-born player ever been in an all-star game, and that was Edgar Renteria. It's a proud moment for that country as Herrera slashes at it, flies it to center, and coming to get it is Ian Desmond for out number 2. Here are the defensive substitutions now. All yellow. Trumbo's in left, Desmond's in center, and Beltran from the Yankees in right. Donaldson, Lindor, Cano, Hosmer the only holdover, with Wieters catching Herrera on the mound.
Well, our game has got so many talented players from so many countries internationally. They represent themselves at every position. And as dynamic as the game is growing, and as we see the world games that will be played, Baseball Classic, the sport has a lot of young, talented players groomed to be stars.
Here is Duvall out in front of the plate. Wieters gets to it, and that will do it for a quick and easy inning for Herrera as the bullpen takes over for the Royals. Those late inning relievers, 4-2 game.
Watch, kid. Keep doing your thing, all right?
Everybody, let's get together. Everybody, let's get together. Everybody, let's get together.
Don't stop the train. Keep that line moving, right?
How about fond farewells? Peyton Manning, a Super Bowl champion, on his way out. Kobe Bryant scored 60 in his final game with the Lakers. David Ortiz career ends as a 40-year-old. Tonight in this game, Ortiz was 0 for 1 with a walk. That spot scored a run as Encarnacion took over. And after starting in his first All-Star game in 2004 when he hit a home run, and this is 10th. He is hoping for more of the same, John, in the second half, not just from himself, but from the Boston Red Sox and that good lineup. Here's Scherzer taking over, and first up is Hosmer, who's 2 for 2.
Well, if you like adrenaline, arms, legs, 2 different eye colors, you're going to love Mr. Scherzer. He gets after it, and he is not holding back.
Hosmer's looking for his 3rd hit of the night. We're about to hear from David Ortiz, who is standing by with our own Ken Rosenthal.
By the way, that was awesome, what we just watched. Just seeing the younger generation paying respects to a guy who is and fits what a superstar is.
Hosmer gets the bat on the ball. I personally don't think I've ever seen David Ortiz in better shape.
No, it has been, you know, as a former player who you would love, every athlete wants to go out on the perfect way, right? They want that dream season. He's having it. And what makes it more special is he knows this is the right call. We see it in the sports where, you know, he's going to get his farewell tour, but this guy has given so much to the game and has been through the greatest moments and come up so clutch. I just can't even imagine what that would feel like to end the way he is so far in his last year.
Top first baseman in baseball with regard to hits, with 100 on the season, is Hosmer, and he's put together good at bats. He's 2 for 2, but he's been in a battle every time, and he's won the first 2 battles.
Well, unfortunately for the rest of pitchers in baseball, that's why they saw the Kansas City Royals do what they did last year. Big attack swings early, then fight, put the ball in play. And that's how they could pull off some of those rallies that they did. They put pressure on the other teams. They bought into it, but they are not cheated early. They swing for the fences early and then go into attack defensive mode with 2 strikes.
Scherzer's the top strikeout guy in baseball this year on the mound. He gets Hosmer, who's retired for the first time tonight, down to Ken Rosenthal.
Thanks, Joe. David, the entire American League team came out onto the field when you came out of the game to greet you. What did that moment mean to you?
A lot, man. You know, something that I will never forget. Something that, you know, you see all your boys. I mean, pretty much everybody in this dugout have been related to one way or the other. You know, it's always like communication at some point. Because, you know, as a veteran player, you always a tendency to give the younger player advice and stuff like that. And in my case, I don't care if you are a pitcher, a position player. You know, if I can tell you something to help you out, I will.
Now, a number of your teammates here do not believe you are retiring. You're having a great year. Why are you retiring?
They will after the season. Look at this guy. He just, you know, things are getting harder. You know, it's a beautiful game that demand a lot of dedication and work, you know, and as you get older, you know, it's get a little difficult to get there. So, you know, your body start, you know, hurting and going in a different direction, and that's my situation right now.
David, thanks very much. Joe, back to you.
All right, thank you. It's been a joy to watch David Ortiz, especially during the month of October. He knows how to get it done when it matters the most. As we said before, just beloved as Carlos Beltran flies to center. Beltran is 6 runs away and 1 RBI away from joining Barry Bonds Willie Mays and Alex Rodriguez as the only players with 1,500 or more runs scored, 2,500 plus hits, 400 home runs, 1,500 RBIs, and 300 plus stolen bases. That's the career of Carlos Beltran.
He's racking them up, and I talked to him earlier. I said, what's the plan? He said, man, I would like to play one more year. If all goes well, you'll be adding to those numbers that you just spoke of.
Here is Matt Wieters, who's gone through a Tommy John procedure. Two-time Gold Glove Award winning catcher with the Orioles. Played 101 games between 2014 and 15, and the former 5th overall pick in 2007. Is calling pitches for the top team in the AL East. 2-1 from Scherzer, and you can hear, it's like we're at Wimbledon. You can hear him grunting with every pitch. He's giving it everything he's got.
He sure has. This guy is transformed himself over in the National League. Coming from the Tigers. Hadn't pitched really a complete game in the American League, and now he has been dominating in the National League, throwing a couple no-hitters. Loves what he does. A perfect blend for a team with expectations through the roof for the Nationals to have him on their roster.
Wow. Here, have some of this at 98. And a perfect inning from Max Scherzer. On a fun night here in San Diego. Big night for David Ortiz. This fall, Fox has a great new series called Pitch, starring Kylie Bunbury and Mark Paul Gosselaar. Here's a first look. Sports quite the way Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock do. The brains to know and the guts to say. Captain Colin and Jason as they team up for FS1's new daily talk show, Speak for Yourself. Weekdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Glad to have them in the Fox family. Here are the changes. Miguel Cabrera takes over at first base. Dylan Betances is now on the mound. The Yankee at the plate is Corey Seager, the shortstop for the Dodgers. Hey! Count is 0-2 in a blink. The shortstop for the Dodgers, alerted by Steve Horn, our editorial consultant. Aaron Charlton from Stats Inc. There is an 0-2 pitch outside that I was talking about. Tony Gwynn, I talked about the 6.5 hole. It was the 5.5 hole that Tony Gwynn used to talk about, and that is to the right of the shortstop, to the left of the third baseman. But I kind of got the feeling that if Gwynn wanted to do the 3.5 hole to the right side, he could have done that.
Seriously, I'm here to tell you, it doesn't matter. He was going to hit anything and find any way to get a hit. So whatever hole you want to talk about, he found it. He was the master.
In case you don't know what we're talking about with regard to the numbers, if you're scoring, first base is 3, second base is 4, shortstop 6, third base is 5. Seager strikes out as Betances just blows him away, and this young stud shortstop for the Dodgers, first out in the 7th.
Well, I think Betances is going to get better and better, believe it or not, if he can command that fastball. That fastball sometimes becomes a show pitch because his slider and breaking ball is so good, he relies on it. And obviously the Yankees have the 7-8-9 wipeout machine in their bullpen. But you know, you ever seen a small lab and see their paws and determine how big they're going to be?
Yes.
That's Corey Seager when we got a chance to meet him.
I'll say. Here is Murphy with a base hit that he hooks into right. And the top guy with regard to batting average and with regard to I told you so's in baseball.
Take that ball. That was a hit. That's a hit. That's a hit. Good hit. Bring it, Murphy.
Gets a base hit into right.
And I'm telling you, he has unlocked something. He has made a mechanical adjustment, getting closer to the plate, and he has not turned back. This has been a long run with an off season, by the way, in between.
Batter is Paul Goldschmidt. The guy who he will credit, Kevin Long, is here in the ballpark. So a little tune-up if Daniel Murphy wants it. I don't think that he needs it, but Kevin Long is a hitting coach, long time with the Yankees, now for Terry Collins and the Mets. Murphy is on. Goldschmidt, that ball gets away as Wieters can't control it. And down to second is Murphy with one out. And we'll see. It's a wild pitch.
I'm just telling you, having been through these, the adrenaline a guy goes through, it is just about, I can't put a percentage on it, but it's nowhere close to a regular season game. And you can see Betances is showcasing his fastball, his slider, and at some point, a little overexertion.
So Murphy now at second for a guy who knows how to drive in runs. Late swing by Goldschmidt, strike 2. Paul is #1 in the National League in RBIs with 444 since the start of 2012. A tremendous talent. Tying run at the plate. Goldschmidt goes up to get it and pops it up. Desmond, the former shortstop, now in the outfield for the Rangers, has it. 2 out. Follow live baseball with the MLB.com at-bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day. Live game video highlights, StatCast news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet.
This is the matchup I'm excited to see. One of the better hitters in our game. Power against power on the mound.
Nolan Arenado. 99 from Betances, upstairs, ball 1.
Man, I'm just telling you. 6'8", 6'9", coming out of the pen for Yankees. They get the lead late. It's over.
And we don't. Arenado missed that ball by a foot. We're going to see Andrew Miller next. You can see Arenado going, wow. He wasn't close to that pitch, and then we'll see Zach Britton to the Orioles to close it.
Well, I'm not thinking he's setting him up as Arenado, but that pitch took a left turn. You got to respect the fastball.
100, and that is popping the glove of Wieters all over this ballpark.
Well, this guy's usage rate with the Yankees is going to be pretty important in the second half. You won't see too many outings like this. Joe Girardi would probably say, young man, I need you multiple times.
Popped up, foul ball, out of play. 2-2.
The Yankees are such an interesting topic moving forward in the second half. What kind of team are they? Are they in the mix? They're 500 to finish the first half. But you're so teased by the fact that if you could score some runs and get the lead late, they're a playoff team. But the question is, can they do that consistent enough?
All they need is a 6-inning lead, and they go Betances, then Andrew Miller, and then Aroldis Chapman. Arenado strikes out, and that was dazzling by Dellin Betances, a New Yorker through and through. Born in Washington Heights, grew up in the Lower East Side, went to high school in Brooklyn, and representing the Yankees. Wow. We'll give you our Fox Sports Salutes game summary, sponsored by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. Salvador Perez, a 2-run shot, and the third reigning World Series MVP to hit a home run in the All-Star game, joining Schmidt and Jeter. Eric Hosmer, third Royal with multiple hits and RBIs in an All-Star game, joining Bo Jackson and the great George Brett. And now for the introduction of God Bless America, let's join public address announcer Alex Miniak.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you stand. Kindly remove your caps and face the American flag. Please join us in honoring our country, the brave men and women of our armed forces, and all our veterans of service, as we welcome U.S. Navy Information Systems Technician First Class Yerrick Cotter, who will lead us in the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the ocean. Why with God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet
broadcast is presented by MasterCard and sponsored by Pepsi. Tell the world how you feel. Find your Pepsi emoji today. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Play Ball is MLB's initiative to inspire all forms of baseball and softball participation, making play opportunities available and fun for everyone. Learn more. Go to playball.org. John Lester from the Cubs, who had a brilliant month, is in to pitch. Mark Trumbo, his first at bat, and Trumbo's leading the world in home runs. What a steal for the Orioles to get Trumbo as he takes a strike from John Lester.
I know some Cub fans may be a little concerned about Lester and Arrieta before the break. Don't be. This break comes at a good time. A couple hiccups their starters had down the stretch. Still a nice lead. But this can actually help reset your focus. Arrieta doesn't look like to pitch in this game, but John Lester, a warrior. He has been awesome. And you see that month in June that he had as the Cubs looking to get to a place they haven't been in a while.
No World Series since 1945. They are so sick of hearing that. Here's a hot shot to short. Seager going to show off his arm, and it's too late. And Trumbo got down the line really well for a guy leading the big leagues in home runs.
See that skip right off the end of the grass. That skip right there, getting a little cooler. That ball absolutely took off when it hit the dirt, and you could see where it hit him high up on the glove. Watch again the spin and then the hustle by Trumbo.
Trumbo's got 28 home runs. As a rookie, he led the Angels in home runs and RBIs in 2011, was #2 in the Rookie of the Year voting. And all he's done is hit. He's with his 4th team over the last 4 years. Orioles got him for catcher Steve Clevenger from Seattle. What a pickup for a first-place club. And speaking of Seattle, here is their terrific second baseman, Robinson Cano.
Cano just having an unbelievable year, playing through some pain before. And what an eerie situation. Ned Yost, the manager, John Lester on the mound 3 years ago for the Oakland Athletics. What became where everybody seemed to run in the big rally. I don't think Trumbo's going to run. Lester's been better at holding runners, but nonetheless, still a guy that you can run on if the right guy gets on.
That skips in there. So the error doesn't help Lester. Now he falls behind Cano, 2 balls and a strike. When you talk about the Cubs and you see John Lester in the middle of this, the Cubs were 39-15 in early June. We're on a pace to win 117 games. They've gone 14-20 since. Just to put numbers on what you're talking about, John. Here's a 2-1. 3-1.
Well, the All-Star again is all about timing, right? And I've seen guys have tremendous performances and some not so good. But it doesn't become a precursor for the second half. You understand what this game means. You want to represent your league and your team to the best of your ability, but it is an isolated moment, and you try to build on your first half and carry it over to your second half. 24 years ago in this city in the All-Star game, Tom Glavine had a rough first inning, and all he did was go on to win the Cy Young that year. Everyone was worried about would that be carryover. As you see some of the numbers from Strasburg, 12-0. Good luck duplicating that in the second half.
Story in the NL. There's some Cubs for you. Dexter and Ben saw Chicago's record at the break, their best in '77, best record in baseball for the Giants. Another even year, but they are just well put together. Now a walk, an error, a walk, and it's 2 on with nobody out here in the 7th inning. The AL could blow it open right here. Before the start of tonight's game, MasterCard provided a priceless experience for 22 young fans here in San Diego. With the MasterCard MLB All-Star Youth Ambassador Program, these kids joined their heroes on the field for a priceless moment. And tonight, Fox will donate $10,000 to Stand Up to Cancer for every home run hit in tonight's game. Up to worth $50,000. We're up to 30 now. There have been 3 hit. One by Bryant, one by Hosmer, one by Perez. Batter is Ian Desmond. What a year he's having. Here's Arenado. That's how good he is. Gets the middleman at second, one away.
Wow, what a play. That is not easy. Got to guess where that short hop's going to be, and he still keeps the double play in order. This high chopper. Watch him come in and just old hat. Well, you want to talk about another great story. How about Ian Desmond? Learning a new position, going to the outfield, and making the All-Star team for the first place Rangers.
And a guy who didn't sign until February 29th. A 1-year, $8 million deal. He had rejected a big deal in Washington. Here's Donaldson. That's foul. 5-year, $89.5 million extension from the Nationals following the 2013 season. And then he said no to their $15.8 million qualifying offer. And he may win on this gamble. He's having that good of a year on a 1-year deal in Texas. Here's Donaldson taking a ball.
Everybody in the clubhouse loves this guy when he was with the Nationals, and just the work he's put into his body to change the composition of now an outfielder, much different than an infielder, bigger, stronger, and learning the position and not even acting like it was new.
Here's a 1-1. Donaldson, the MVP in the AL, fouls it right side. Strike 2. You know the story by now? Maybe you don't. He was originally drafted into the Cubs organization. He was a catcher. He moved to third base, starred with the Athletics. Oakland traded him. Blue Jays are glad they did, and they got last year's MVP out of it. He is a fun-loving player. This is launched into the air. Trumbo tags at third. Here's Duvall making the catch. No advance except for good base running by Desmond as he tags and goes to second, 2 out.
Well, it was good base running, but the throw wasn't even low enough to think about being able to cut it off.
Looks like that's going to be it for Lester, with Encarnacion coming up the DH. Terry Collins is going to go to his bullpen. It's a 2-run game here in the 7th in San Diego.
What's up, guy? How are you doing, Tommy? Good, good. You gotta hit the first good pitch.
Amazon StatCast, you saw it. First run of the night off the bat of Chris Bryant. That came in the first inning with 2 out, nobody on, and the kid went deep. And now it's Mark Melancon has just blossomed with the Pittsburgh Pirates. What a year he had last year. 51 saves, a Pirate record. He has the most saves in baseball since 2014, 111. And the lowest ERA of any pitcher in baseball since 2013. Second and third, 2 out. Encarnacion takes ball 1.
And what he does is, besides throw the ball in, he'll throw what's called a front door cutter into a right-hander. And if he gets a chance to put him away with 2 strikes, that right-handed batter thinks the ball's staying in and then cuts back over the plate and catches the corner.
Here's a 1-0. Good play by Jonathan Lucroy of the Brewers, who's taken over behind the plate. Encarnacion knows what to do in these spots. His eyes light up. He leads baseball with 80 RBIs.
Well, for Mark Melancon, you don't want to see the parrot. And the parrot usually means when he hits a home run, he's got that parrot on his shoulder, holding him around the bases.
Yeah, that's Encarnacion you're talking about.
Yeah.
Walks his parrot around. Here's a 2-0. That's a strike. Seems like Melancon kind of hides the ball a little bit. Tough to pick up.
Yeah, he doesn't throw anything straight. He cuts the ball a lot. He's got a good breaking ball, good overhand curveball along with his slider. I think they throw an inside slider right here, maybe.
Base open with the switch hitting Lindor on deck.
Just overthrew that one, almost backed up.
Here is a 3-1 pitch from Melancon to Encarnacion. He checked his swing and the bases are loaded.
As you see, the checking Curran Danley. He knows about Tony Gwynn as he's made the call on this check swing. He was a teammate of Tony Gwynn's in college, an All-American in college. So he knows how special this must be in the home in the city of Tony Gwynn to carry an All-Star game.
Yeah, that's nice. Kerwin Danley, the first base umpire, with that thrill on this perfect night in San Diego. Well, here's Lindor, who popped out his first time. 22-year-old waits and grounds one toward the middle. Murphy, what a play to end the inning. Daniel Murphy says, I can hit home runs still. And who says I can't play defense at second? Wow, he went a mile. And the American League leaves the bases loaded. They've stranded 7. The National League's still in it. Down 2 back after this in a game presented by MasterCard. First 4 innings, the starters put this together. The big blows by Hosmer and Salvador Perez. Home runs. Hosmer, a 2-hit game. Right now, I think would be leading in the MVP voting. Homered, an RBI single. He's driven home 2 of the 4 American League runs. And Andrew Miller of the Yankees, who a lot of teams are lusting after, takes over here in the 8th inning up by 2.
Well, I said the All-Star game's timing's everything, right? Belt's timing not so good. Facing this guy who can absolutely bring it. The devastating slider, like Randy Johnson, not as violent, but he has a long arm swing that just does not allow the hitter to pick up that spin.
Michael Saunders takes over in the right field position. That's a strike, and he had Belt flinching. Saunders from the Blue Jays, and that's just a nasty pitch.
It's just not fair, but Belt's going to hang in there with 2 strikes and try to battle.
Here's a 2-2. Well, any way to get on. National League needs 1 base runner here in the 8th inning to bring up the tying run.
This would be the hard part for me if I'm Belt. I'm selling out for a fastball, and if he throws me a slider, I tip my hat.
As you head back to the dugout. Oh, here's a pop-up. Brandon Belt is putting together his best power season. Flies to Trumbo. 1 out. Our play of the game brought to you by Suicide Squad from Warner Brothers Pictures. Released on August 5th worldwide. After he fouled one off his leg, Salvador Perez goes deep. A 2-run shot in that 3-run second for the American League.
He doesn't have fun playing, does he?
Man, and he's just, you talked about the durability for a guy who leads the big leagues in innings caught. Over 4,100 innings caught since 2013, leading by a mile. And, you know, we talk about it every postseason, or at least the last couple. Foul tips, and foul tips that are hit at him, and foul tips he hits off himself. He just seems to take a beating, but man, he's tough. That includes the postseason, so there's an even bigger number for you with all the postseason games the Royals have been in the last couple of years. 1 ball, 1 strike on Luke Croy, his first at bat, strike 2.
Well, I don't know what the Brewers are going to do, but this could be a valuable chip. If you think about the second half, everybody could use pitching, but there's a lot of teams that could use a quality catcher with an offensive talent that he has. So the Brewers have been competitive. Don't know if they'll be in the market to throwing him out there.
Well, he's 30. He's signed at a good number through another year. Ragin' Cajun from the University of Louisiana Lafayette, and he joins our friend Ted Simmons as the only Brewers catcher to go to multiple All-Star games. That's inside as Wieters can't hang on, and the count 2-2.
Here comes a slider. It's probably going to start on the outside and break back late.
Here's a fly ball down the left field line, but foul. Hard hit by Luke Croy.
Luke Croy was ready for it. If you're a pitcher in this situation and you just threw one right there, the tendency is to throw a better one. Get it down in the dirt. Maybe he swings over the top, but you want to improve on one that wasn't breaking the way you would like. You see, he left it out just a little bit too high, and McCroy just too far out front.
That is into left field, and a seed off the bat of Luke Croy. 1 on, 1 out.
Like I said, that's a catcher that can hit. And certainly he was able to stay in there on 2 consecutive sliders. And this one stayed in the ballpark. It was hit awfully firm.
It'll bring up Jay Bruce. It also brings Starling Marte into the on-deck circle, as Terry Collins is down to only Aledmus Diaz among his position players not to appear, and he told us before the game Diaz will get into this ball game before the end of it. First pitch outside, ball 1 to Bruce, who's 0 for 1. Terry Collins, the first manager to tell Fox before a game that he feels it's important to get every team's uniform in the ballgame.
At least one of them if they have multiple players.
2-1.
You got Tehran in, Herrera with the Phillies.
And that's why I say that about Diaz would be the only Cardinal. Matt Carpenter right there in the front of the picture is on the DL with a strained oblique. Count now 2-2 on Jay Bruce. Good baseball man is Terry Collins.
He sure is, and he's been through a lot.
Struck him out. Bruce out number 2 here in the 8th.
Well, again, that slider, the first one he threw at his hip and got a called strike on it, and then that one he just extended the plate and made him reach. A good matchup here, though, for Marte. One of the talented outfielders for the Pittsburgh Pirates, probably the most talented outfield for what they can do defensively and offensively.
You got McCutchen and you've got Polanco to go with Marte. And Starling steps in hitting .316, 8th best average in the National League. And he serves a base hit into right. 2 on with 2 out. Tying runs are aboard here in the 8th inning. With the young Adam Duvall, former San Francisco Giant, now the power hitting outfielder for the Reds, coming up.
There's just certain guys whose swings are more tailored for certain styles, and Marte, a quick bat, as you saw, jump on the first pitch and didn't try to pull it, which was the key against Miller. And now this man would love to see that Western Metal Supply Company, if you're in the National League, that building that stands in left field.
There's a strike. A young power hitter in a good ballpark to hit home runs in Cincinnati. Seager on deck, but it's all on Duvall and Miller right now. It's down for ball 1. Adam Duvall, converted infielder. Compact power stroke. To Cincinnati in the Mike Leake deal last year at the deadline. And just so you know, 26 of his 31 career home runs have come off right-handed pitching as he deals with this lefty Andrew Miller.
He definitely likes to pull, and he's looking for something middle in.
That breaking ball is just high. The count's 3-1. Now Ledmus Diaz has come into the on-deck circle. He'll hit for Seager if the inning gets there. Strike 2, and the count's full. The runners will go.
That's how much confidence he has in that pitch. 3-1 count. It looks like a ball to the hitter. It starts outside and then it catches the outside part of the plate.
Good speed on. Lucroy can run. He's at second. Marte can fly. He's at first. They'll go. We'll do it again. What's on the line? Well, home field advantage in the upcoming World Series. The American League has won 10 of the 13 that have quote-unquote counted. You can like it or not like it, but that's what's on the line here tonight, as it's been the previous 13 games. Big spot here. 3-2.
Well, the problem now is he's seeing more and more of those sliders, so he's starting to track them a little bit more. For Miller, you either got to really get aggressive with the slider down on his back foot, or you surprise him with that fastball. At some point, the more he sees those breaking balls, it's a little more advantage to the hitter on a neutral count. 3-2.
Right-hander Will Harris is getting loose. Here it is, and Duvall pops it up, back, and out of play.
He just missed that one right there. We'd like to have that over. You see this slider, see how it comes out of his hand, little flat, trying to get it in, trying to get it down.
Runners have been busy. They've been on the move the last few pitches. They'll go again. Gets outside to load him up. And whether it's the rookie Corey Seager or the rookie Aledmus Diaz, one of the most unlikely stories in the first half of the season, it'll be a rookie at the plate for the National League, and it will not be Andrew Miller on the mound for the American League. Will Harris of the Astros is getting loose, and here he comes. Diaz will be the hitter. What a moment for this young man from Cuba. Coming up. The only grand slam in All-Star Game history. It belongs to Fred Lynn. He hit it off Adley Hammaker at Comiskey Park in a blowout win for the American League. That's it. Bases loaded here. Aledmus Diaz. Ball one, down and away. A base hit likely ties the ball game. 4-2 AL, 8th inning.
Will Harris, that's a signature pitch right there. So he started him off with a breaking ball. And he has become the closer for the red-hot Astros.
A 1-0. Diaz didn't like that call. And the count 1-1 strike for a young man who has added his name to a list of good rookie shortstops. You see why he didn't like that call.
Yeah, that's a game changer. 2-0 count to 1-1 on a cutter away.
Tap foul. Diaz was taken off the roster by St. Louis, designated for assignment. So in the midst of a 4-year, $8 million deal signed from Cuba, grew up a few doors down from Jose Fernandez, who we saw earlier in Santa Clara, the provincial capital of Villa Clara in Cuba. It took 2 injuries to get him on the roster to start the season. He hit over 400 in April. He's been unbelievable. He checks his swing on a pitch down. And the count 2-2.
That is a power curveball. The hands of a clock. We call it a 12-6. And That was as firm as you can be without getting the barrel across the plate. Tremendous ability to hold up right there in a 2-2 count.
Bases loaded, 2 out, 2-2 pitch.
Well, he showed him his bread and butter on the first pitch. It's 3-2. Will he go to that pitch? I'm going to say he's definitely going to go to the breaking ball. Even if he misses, it's still a 1-run lead. I think that's his signature pitch. Why not go with it on a 3-2 count?
Harris is set. 3-2 pitch. Got him looking, and the inning is over.
What a pitch.
At 93 miles per hour, and the National League now has stranded 10. Paints the outside corner, and the lead remains 2. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Presented by MasterCard and sponsored by Dell. By Chevrolet, the most awarded car company 2 years in a row. And by Suicide Squad, brought to you by Warner Brothers Pictures, released on August 5th worldwide. We need them bad. 2016 MLB All-Star Game on Fox is presented by MasterCard. Well, the National League now has stranded 10, the AL 7. And Fernando Rodney, who started the year here in San Diego, traded to the Marlins to now set up for a good young club, comes in to try and keep it a 2-run game, deals with Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah, welcome Miguel Cabrera.
With that hat as sideways as it's ever been for Fernando Rodney, Miguel Cabrera.
My favorite guy to watch. I didn't like pitching against him, but favorite guy to watch hit in the big leagues.
Still the best?
It is. And I don't think it's even an argument, because he can do everything. Power to all parts. Professional hitter from the very beginning, when you talk about what he can do, just so comfortable in the box.
He's fooled there. Comes up empty. 2 balls and a strike. Marte stays in the game. He's in center. Aledmus Diaz is now at short, and Rodney, as you know, takes over on the mound.
Rodney, unbelievable changeup fastball combination.
2-2. The bench is now empty, position player wise, for Terry Collins. Ben Zobrist, who can play everywhere, has been designated to return in the game if he needs to. You can also bring a catcher back if there's an injury these days in the All-Star game. Here's a 2-2. Got him looking for out number 1.
Well, another paint situation. That's the only way you can do is absolutely throw the combination of fastball, changeup, and stay out of nitro zone.
Doing that to the 4-time batting champ, the Triple Crown winner back in 2012, 2-time MVP. And he gets Cabrera looking. Now Michael Saunders. It's a great story. Hurt last year, played only 9 games in Toronto. Was on the trading block, but really wanted to stay with the Blue Jays. Played for Team Canada, the 2008 Beijing Summer Games. Born in Victoria, British Columbia, and the 4th Canadian-born player playing for a Canadian team in an All-Star game. But he pops it up. If somebody can find it in that sky, it's out number 2, and it's Arenado. Let's go back to that at bat that ended the top of this 8th with Diaz.
Yeah, what an at bat. And you look at the first pitch, that breaking ball, and then this is the pitch right here. That kind of throws him for a loop, does Diaz, and then just great pitching after this. He gets a ball. That's the power one he checked the swing on, and then he misses high and comes right back with paint on the corner. Unbelievable.
Fernando Rodney is going to exit. Saluted by the fans here in San Diego. Pitching change with 2 out, nobody on. As the big right-hander, Kenley Jansen, comes in from the Dodgers. All-Star Game StatCast, powered by Amazon Web Services. That tremendous play. It kept this a 2-run game by Daniel Murphy on the ball hit by Lindor in the 7th. With the bases loaded, that's as good a defensive play as we've seen all night, considering the circumstances. And now with 2 out and nobody on, Kenley Jansen takes over. with Matt Wieters, switch hitting catcher, about to dig in.
Cutter, cutter, and cutter. That's where Kenley Jansen features, and it's pretty tough to hit.
Most saves for the Dodgers in team history, 169. Free agent to be, and this guy is a very good athlete. You know, the great Mariano Rivera did it with cutter after cutter after cutter. That's what Jansen does. But he was the starting catcher for the Netherlands team that upset the Dominican Republic team in the World Baseball Classic in 2009. Now closing for the Dodgers, trying to get the final out of the 8th. And Wieters will foul it down the left side. And with home field advantage on the line, realize that 6 of the last 7 World Series champions had home field advantage.
That's a luxury to have, and certainly that man right there is hoping to benefit 2 years in a row if his team can get back.
0-2. Wieters strikes out on a pitch chin high, and the inning is over. Sends us into the 9th. The plan has been for Zach Britton to close it. He's got a 2-run lead to protect here in San Diego. Well, tonight's MVP will have to make a hard choice between 2 award-winning Chevys, the 2016 Motor Trend Car of the Year, Camaro, and the 2016 Truck of the Year, Colorado. Which one will they pick? Make your prediction at ChevyBaseball.com. Here we go, 9th inning, 2-run game. Daniel Murphy takes a strike from Zach Britton, with Eduardo Nunez taking over at second base.
Well, if you've ever heard the term bowling ball sinker,
That's what this guy has. 96, bottom drops out, hard to hit. And the only thing you hope as a hitter is he runs into control problems and gets a little bit more in the center of the plate. Otherwise, you're in for a rough time trying to square up one of his pitches.
Murphy, the former Met, the current Washington National, takes down ball one. We talked about Terry Collins trying to get someone from every team in the game. Ironically, no Mets yet. But Noah Syndergaard injured, not available. Yoenis Cespedes injured, not available. And he is saving Juris Familia, his closer, to close this game if he gets a chance. The 1-2. A foul tip. Bartolo Colon, meanwhile, is the long guy, kind of the ace in the hole for Terry Collins in case this game were to go deep into extra innings. There are the changes with Nunez at second and Britton on the mound. Last Oriole to save an All-Star game was Don Ossie in 1986. Britton trying to do that. The last time the National League was down by 2 in the 9th inning, come back to win, was our trivia question. July 12th of 1994. Down 7-5 in the 9th, won 8-7 in the 10th on that hit by Moises Alou. 2-2. That scored the great Tony Gwynn.
Well, I'm biased, but I think it's the greatest All-Star game of any sport. It's played the closest to the regular season style, and well over half of the games have been 2 runs or less when you go all the way back in the tightness of how these games are played.
Good at bat by Murphy, a tradition that started in 1933 as part of the World's Fair in Chicago. That was the first one at Comiskey Park. Here we are in San Diego, California for the 87th All-Star game. Well played, fun game. Babe Ruth, by the way, hit the first home run in All-Star game play. Here is a little served base hit into center. And there is life for the National League here in the 9th as Daniel Murphy has been on base 3 times.
That's just an unbelievable at-bat. Fighting off sinker, trying to barrel up something. He gives himself up and puts the ball in play and gets rewarded, and now gives the National League a chance to tie it up with one swing of the bat. And what better guy to be at the plate than first baseman for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
The numbers the last 3 years for Britton as Goldschmidt stands in, certainly a power threat, are incredible. Britton a 1.55 ERA the last 3 years. Perfect and save chances in 2016, strike 1.
For Goldschmidt, you'd never teach this batting stance at home. You see the bat almost pointing down at the ground, but his ability to get his hands ready to hit, second to none. Talking to Britton, so what's the secret to your sinker? You'd never believe the answer. He said, I have small hands and fingers that just lead me to throw the baseball with tremendous movement.
Good pitch. Goldschmidt comes up empty, and it's 1-2.
I mean, just look. We're seeing this in slow motion. You have no idea at 96 what a hitter thinks that pitch is doing.
Just got a piece. 97 from Britton. Talk about the first place Orioles. They come into the break with a 2-game lead over Boston and Toronto, and up close as Goldschmidt just ticked it. Pride of the Diamondbacks waits in a 1-2. Back to Britton. To second. Took forever to get rid of it, and Goldschmidt is safe. No double play. So Goldschmidt is on, one out. will experience 360-degree replay from Intel. And that last pitch, a great look at the pitch that got Diaz, ending the top of the 8th with the bases loaded in a 2-run game. And here's the typical look.
Not much you can do for Diaz. He absolutely painted.
Now the batter is Arenado. And Nolan, who's already flashed the leather in this game, stands in there with his 70 RBIs, tied for second with 23 home runs. Third at bat. Left side. Donaldson. They get one. They got them both. And this game is over. Saved by Britton in the American League yet again. Will have home field advantage in the upcoming World Series. For the 11th time in the 14 games since this game has determined home field advantage, it's the AL winning tonight a final of 4-2. And Arenado didn't run.
He had to be confused on the outs. He had to think once they threw it to second base, that was it, and didn't realize there was only one out. Don't know if it would have mattered. Nonetheless, not what you want running down the bases.
So the 4-2 final in a 3-hour, 5-minute game. And in this game, home runs by Hosmer, Salvador Perez. For the American League, the big blows. And Ned Yost is 2-0 in All-Star Game managing history.
Last minute to be friends, and then they go to competing against each other.
So he's able to enjoy this experience in San Diego all the way around. And Ned Yost came into this game with a plan to win it, and his group wins it 4-2. Let's go down to Ken Rosenthal.
Sal, you know Johnny Cueto well. You caught him last year. How did you approach him when you hit that home run in the second inning?
I was trying to look something up out over the play, and I think he don't want to throw that pitch there. I think he just leave it there, and I got it pretty good. I hit it pretty good tonight.
Eric Hosmer, 2 hits, 2 RBIs. It's his first All-Star game. What was it like watching him do that?
That's unbelievable. You know what? I'm so excited for him, for his family. He deserves to be in here. And he like my brother, so everything happened tonight for him is going to be great for him. He deserves to do it.
Last question. David Ortiz's last All-Star game. What was that experience like?
That's unbelievable. The last 4 All-Star game I have, my first was Derek Jeter, second one, my first was Mariano Rivera, Derek Jeter, and now David Ortiz. It's an unbelievable experience, you know, to be around this guy. That's the guy we want to be after 10 more years.
Thanks, Sal. Joe, back to you.
All right, thanks, Kenny. The winner is Corey Kluber. The loser is Johnny Cueto in this game, the starter for the National League side, and the save for Zach Britton. Again, a brisk 3 hours, 5 minutes. And, John, this was a well-played ball game here in San Diego.
It really was. The National League had their chances. They really did. They had some people on bases, one hit away from making something happen.
The National League ends up leaving 10. The American League leaves 7. On a night where we celebrated David Ortiz, again, it's the American League ending up on top. Stay with us. We will present the American League team with the MVP trophy. Who will it be? We'll find out on the other side of the break. Well, in a game that featured 34 first-time All-Stars and 27 players 26 or younger, the final is 4-2. The American League wins it, and they will have home field advantage in the upcoming World Series. It's time to present the hardware. Let's go down to the field and give it to Chris Myers.
Thank you, Joe, from the field here in San Diego, where the 2016 All-Stars put on quite a show tonight. And time now for the Chevrolet All-Star Most Valuable Player Award presentation. Let me introduce the special guest, Commissioner Rob Manfred, our 2016 MVP, and Brian Sweeney, the U.S. Vice President of Chevrolet. Gentlemen, thank you for being out here, and we'll start with you, Commissioner.
Well, it's my pleasure to present the Ted Williams Most Valuable Player Award presented by Chevrolet to Eric Hosmer of the Kansas City Royals.
Thank you very much.
As you hold that up, he was just joking about you were asking Mike Trout what you do with that. And now, Brian, if you wanted to say a few words that come along, excuse me, Commissioner, with this award and this performance from Eric tonight.
Eric, congratulations on behalf of Chevrolet and our Chevrolet dealers across the United States. We've got 2 MVPs for you to choose from. Our 50th anniversary Camaro or our Midnight Edition Colorado. You pick it. Come on.
Oh, man.
Oh. This isn't a game show, Eric. You got to choose one.
Well, I tell you what, Pops needs a new truck, so we're going to go with the Midnight.
Pops is here, all right, with a new truck.
Yeah.
All right, the Chevy Colorado. A couple of questions. First of all, congratulate. You'll have fun driving that up the Pacific Coast Highway. Just get on I-40, right, to get back to KC?
Exactly, yeah. Take that the whole way, huh?
All right, your first All-Star game and the first Royal, the only other Royal since Bo Jackson to win the All-Star MVP award. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much, man. It's really been a great venue out here in San Diego. Just couldn't think of a better place to spend the first one. The weather, people, everything's been great around here, so thank you very much.
All right, so in that second inning, Eric, you homer, tie the game. Your teammate homers later to get the lead for the American League off a teammate of last year. A little inside edge against Johnny Cueto, the ex-Royal.
Yeah, it was. It's so crazy because it felt like my first big league game today. You know, the first inning, Brian came up and hit the home run, and I'm like, man, this guy must be on top of the world right now. And sure enough, follow that next inning and put a good swing on one, and just smiling all around the bases. You know, it's fun when you can play this game, and it makes you feel like a kid again.
Well, you can share this with Salvador Perez, your teammate. Give him a ride at least.
Yeah, I should have took the Camaro so we could race and see who's faster, huh?
So you can comfortably head into the second half of the season knowing what you did last year, another American League win. So whether it's the Royals or a team from your league, you'll have home field advantage in the World Series in October.
Yeah, that was the message from everybody in the clubhouse. You know, it's such a huge advantage to have home field advantage. So we don't know who it's going to be, but we wanted to bring it back to the American League.
All right, we thank Brian Sweeney from Chevrolet, the Commissioner Rob Manfred, and the 2016 Most Valuable Player here in the All-Star Game, Eric Hosmer. Have fun, Eric. Thanks. Thanks a lot for being with us. Let's head back upstairs to Joe Buck.
All right, thank you so much, Chris Myers. Great job pinch hitting for Kevin Burkhardt. Under the weather, we're thinking of Kevin tonight. And I know he'll get better soon. As you think about Eric Hosmer, list of first basemen to win MVPs: McCovey, Garvey, McGriff, Fielder. How about the night for Kansas City in the American League? AL wins at 4-2. Back after this in San Diego.